Hi Dollhouse people, Whitney LaBrie here, and welcome to the exterior of the Garfield dollhouse. Now that I'm done with the inside, we have tons more to do on the outside. So today I'm going to start with brick. Now in the very beginning of actually my entire channel, I started off with showing you how to do stone. And now we're going to add to that. So I have stone on the outside, I'm going to have brick, and I'm going to have wood. So we'll work with those three elements over the next few videos. So definitely keep checking back so you can see the progress of the exterior of the Garfield dollhouse, which is why you need to subscribe so that you don't miss any of those other episodes coming up in the future. I'm already exhausted, so I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and I'll see you in a bit.
Alright, so you've seen me use it before. I'm going to grab my DOS clay, my clay cutter, my ruler, my rolling pin that has bricks, my Gorilla Glue, and my little baking roller here with the little Santa Clauses on it. So I'm going to get out my clay, and I am thinking that I'm going to need to use at least 2 to 3 packages to cover the surface that I'm looking to cover, which is pretty much the entire base of the dollhouse. The top part I'm going to do wood, and the bottom part I'm going to do brick. So this time I'm just going to roll out my clay, and because I'm covering such larger areas, I'm actually going to cut out the clay in little strips instead. I'm going to do that because I think it's going to be easier for me to handle and glue to the sides. So you see there I've got the 4 strips, and then I'm just going to take my stamp roller and just roll it across just like that so you can see what it looks like. And just a quick tip, only go one direction. If you need to go in the other direction, you will double up on your stamp, so don't do that. I'm just putting down my wood glue first, and I've used that many times to apply the clay, and it's worked really great and it stays, so I'm going to suggest that you do that. And then just adding the strips here of brick, just one at a time, cutting it to size. And on this wall near the chimney, I'm going to do brick on both sides of that chimney going all the way up. And in this particular situation, I did not cut out the windows on the side of the dollhouse. I left them in because I wanted the interior to have more wall space. So that's what you're seeing. And I'm just covering up those windows, but it's nice to point out too that this brick will completely cover all of that, and in this case I didn't do any wood fill. So around the corners I just did larger strips and let them wrap around the full corner instead of having 2 sides come together. And I did this because where the brick is, I'm not going to do a trim. Okay, so after the clay dries, and this clay is a 24-hour drying clay, in some cases you're gonna have it where the bricks are gonna shrink up on you, like you can see here on these different strips. But it's a really easy, quick fill. You just take a little bit more clay, and I just roll it up into like a little slender piece, almost looks like a little green bean, like a green bean shape, and then I just kind of smush it into the cracks. And in this case, you may opt to do much larger pieces at a time, and you won't really need to deal with this, which is fine. Once that dries, it will blend right in. And for me, I'm doing old brick. I want it to look old, like the house is really old. So this is perfect. Now, if I was trying to do a very modern or stationary looking, I would have done much larger clay brick pieces so that I would have less cracking and I would have a more uniform look. Okay, now in a case like this where I have a light, I'm just gonna slice that brick right down the center, and then I'm just going to go around the base and apply it, and that's what it'll look like once it is. So right now it kind of almost has like a little castle feel. So now I'm going to start painting it, and I have a lot to do, so I am asking for a little additional help this time.
Good job, Tiny Whitney. You're doing a really good job. You did miss a couple spots though. Really make sure to get in the crowd, okay? What's that? What? Come closer? Okay. Closer? Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do a brighter red. I'm going with a tomato red on the brick as the base color of the bricks, all right? And you can see me and Tiny Whitney, I was gonna do a gray base coat, but then last minute I decided not to do it, and I'm just going to put this right on top. And what I try to do is I try not to get into the grout. As you can see, I did in many spots, but I am dry brushing it on the red so I'm not using any water. I'm just dry brushing it on. And if you can help it, try not to get into the grout. I did quite a bit, and it kind of leaves this look of this like splotchiness. I'll show you in a little while. Again, under these circumstances of me doing like old bricks, this is going to be fine. If I was doing more of a uniform look, again, I would have to be much more careful and not getting in the grout as much as I could. So I would just do that by using a lot less paint on my brush. Okay, and then once that's done, I'm going to let it dry. Now, you don't have to necessarily let it dry, but you can. And the next thing I'm going to do is going to go over it with a much darker red paint. And I'm going to kind of darken it up, give it a couple more colors. I'm using Rookwood red in this case. And then I'm going to paint that on, let it dry. Now what I'm going to do is in the splotchier areas, I'm going to do a highlighted color, and I use like a little latte color here. Again, just dry brushing it. And in those areas where I painted in the grout, I'm just going to highlight those areas. All right. It will put a little paint in there. It will bring those bricks back out again. And it will also add another element of color and make, of course, the bricks look old. You know, like maybe they've had a little bit of color, they've had some wear over the years, etc. And you can go over these bricks with as many colors as you want. All right, and so there's how we kind of started out, and then there's the finished look there. And that's that. Kind of a simple video here, very quick. It took me about a week to really apply all of the clay a little bit at a time and then paint it and do a couple layers of paint. The next step, of course, I'm going to let it sit. I usually like to walk away from a project for a few days, and then I'll go back and maybe fix a few areas that I don't like, add a little paint here and there, maybe add a little brown to it, and then maybe add a little speckle, some white speckle, which if I do that, I'll highlight that in the next video. So coming up, I still have to do the whole top part, which is going to be wood. I'm going to do like a clapboard, and I need to add the porch on as well so that we can get some of those elements and do some trim around the windows, of course. I still have the doors to do, and so we've got plenty more, and then we'll really start working on some landscaping, which will really bring everything together, which I'm really excited about. All right, so that's it for this video. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you're looking forward to the next video to see how it comes together. And then, of course, as I always talk about my eBay site, if you're interested in pre-owned dollhouse furniture and accessories, please check out my website at Whitney1614. The link is down below. If you do not already follow me, head on over to my Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest page, and you can see me there for other more miniatures and other fun stuff. All right, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you hadn't. Now it's time for you to get back to your own dollhouse projects, and I'll see you here next week. Bye!